Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Daysi DIY. Today I'm going to share with you guys an easy and beautiful fall DIYs. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Thank you so much. For the first project, we're going to be using this wood jar that I got at TJ Maxx. It only cost me $2 and I really love it because I was thinking to do something really great for this jar. So the first thing, I decided to cover the letters. I think it's way better to use like a piece of sandpaper. So I just did 2 coats of the Bristolian paint and I just put it to a side and let it dry. I'm going to be using this beautiful free printable that our talented friend Heidi Sonboul she shared with us. I will link it down below in my description box below the video so you guys can print these beautiful free printables. So I just put my free printables on the bottom and the jar on the top and I just trace it and I just cut it with my scissors. And once I cut the beautiful image, I'm gonna use this Mod Podge that I got from Dollar Tree and I just did 1 coat and I'm gonna place my image on the top. Also, I went over on the back of the image so it won't have that many wrinkles once I place it, and it worked amazing, this technique. And once I placed the image with my hands, I just went over and smoothed a little bit the image, and I decided to do another coat of Mod Podge on the top so it conceals really well the image, and I just put it to a side and let it dry completely. And once it's completely dry, I decided to distress it a little bit on the edges. It was too clean and I didn't like it. So to distress it, I went over with that Waverly anti-wax and I just went especially in the edges because they had so much details on the jar. So I'm like, let's distress it a little bit, and it turned out amazing. I'm gonna do on the other side another project so we can have 2 side project. I just decided to create 3 lines and I grabbed my pencil and I mark it the lines twice or 3 times. I love to trace my lines twice because it's more easy once I grab a piece of paper towel and I go over and distress it. It works amazing. And also you guys can use the color pencils. I did that technique before and it works too. Once I'm done, I decide to do the same thing. I went over to distress it a little bit more on the edges. And here's the other option that I have. I'm gonna be using this beautiful napkins that I got from my Dollar Tree and I really love them. And I just grabbed a piece of that napkin and I just put 1 coat of Mod Podge and I placed my image and I went over with the same brush and it smoothed a little bit any wrinkles, any bubbles that I had under, you know. You cannot do it with your hands to kind of like smooth the wrinkles on the bubble because it's a piece of paper napkin and it will rip really easy. So that's the reason why I use the brush. And once I was done, I went over and I just did another cut on the top so it can seal really well the napkin on the top. The next thing we're going to be using, I grabbed a piece of this burlap fabric. I'm not sure what to call it, you know. So I just cut a piece and I just place it on the top and I decide to glue it a little bit just on the edges so I can hold it, you know. And I grab a piece of that jute twine and I just wrap it around so it can hold it way better. And I just used a little bit of the glue so it can hold it on place. And I just cut it with my scissors, the remaining piece. And also I just kind of like cut it on the side because there were these long pieces on that burlap fabric, you know, and I didn't like it. And I just kind of like cut it and make it a little bit smaller. I'm pretty sure you guys can see what I did. Also, I just create a simple bow and I just place it on one side and I decided to grab just 1 yellow button because it was missing something else on the top of the bow and I didn't like it, you know. And I grabbed just a few pieces of that raffia and I just place it on the side and it gives so much detail once I place that raffia. I just love it. On the other side, I just create a simple bow made of the jute twine and I place it on the side. And also I just grabbed another beautiful yellow button and it was the touch didn't need. I just love it so much, and I'm pretty sure you guys can recreate this beautiful project because I saw Dollar Tree is carrying these beautiful jars, and you guys can create it two-side project, or you guys can just create it one project at a time, you know. Please let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys have a favorite for this one?
For the next DIY, we're going to be using one piece of the core pieces that we got from Dollar Tree. They come two in a pack, and I decided to paint it and distress it a little bit. I think it will look beautiful at any color, you know. I just used the Rust-Oleum paint, and first I just used a little bit of the paint because I'm like, I don't want to paint all the way, you know, all the detail that I had under. And once I was done, I decided to use this ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree, and I cut 4 pieces, and I cut this other ribbon. It's like burlap, you know. I cut another few pieces, and we're gonna create a messy bow so we can place it on the piece of corn, you know. And I grabbed the pieces all together, and once I place all the pieces, I grab a piece of the jute twine and I tie everything really well, and that's how simple and easy we create this messy bow. And I just use a little bit of the glue and glue it. And the other thing that I create another simple bow made of the jute twine, and I just place it on the middle, and also on the top, you know, you guys can see it's kind of like raffia, I'm gonna call it, you know. I'm not sure what to call it, but I just cut it on half, you know, so we can make it a little bit messy, you know. I'm thinking too, you know, if you guys want to, you guys can remove all that raffia from the top and just leave the bow. I think it will look perfect too, you know. I decide to grab one button to place it on the middle of the bow so it can has a little bit of more detail, and it was the only thing that I did. And here I'm gonna show you that I just went with a little bit of the anti-wax just to distress it a little bit, and that's the only thing that I did for this project. Also, I just grabbed a few pieces of the greenery and I just placed it. I think it turned out really adorable, this corn. It looks amazing in my tier tray. But please let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project?
For the next project, we're going to be using a piece of wood that I had on hand. You guys can grab just like any piece of wood that you guys have, or you guys can just grab a piece of wood from Dollar Tree. And to paint it, we're using again this beautiful color, Deco Art on color grade. I really love it, the color. So I just did one coat and I just let it dry. I also paint on the bottom and also on the back. We're going to be creating two-side projects. The other thing that I decided to do, I just kind of like create this kind of hole on the middle so I can place my pumpkin, and it has a little bit of more of support board because I think it was just not okay just to place the pumpkin, and I will show you in a minute how we're gonna place it. So I decided to create these beautiful half wood beads, but they're made of hot glue. I just love it and all the details that it gives just to any wood sign or piece of wood, anything, And once I'm done, I decide to paint it with the same paint, And once they're completely dry, I went over with the Waverly anti-wax to distress it and give a little bit more of the effect of the wood beads. And also I did it on the other side too, because I mentioned that we're doing two side projects for this beautiful pumpkin. So the same thing that I did on the front, I did it on the back, and I just distressed also the piece of wood so it can blend everything together. If you guys don't want to distress the piece of wood, you guys can just leave it how it is, the beautiful color. The next thing, we're going to be using this metal pumpkin. I'm pretty sure you guys see it at your Dollar Tree, and I had it for a really long time and I really love the image, but the color of the pumpkin, I didn't like it, so I decided to paint it. I'm going to be using the Deco Art paint on color grade, and I'm just going to cover all the edges of the pumpkin. I first did one coat and it didn't cover really well the orange it had under. So once it was dry, I went over with a second coat, and it was just perfect with the second coat because it covered really well the orange part. And I think right now, I think it's way easy just to cover the image with a few pieces of the painter's tape, and I think it's way faster. But at the moment, I was too relaxed. I'm not sure what I was listening, And also on the back, I painted two, and I did two coats, and I just put it to aside and let it dry really well. I'm going to distress the pumpkin a little bit. It was too clean for me, to be honest. So I used the Waverly anti-wax and I went over just in a few parts. It turned out beautiful. This pumpkin, I love it so much once I distress it. And also on the back, I'm going to use again the same paint, but I'm just using especially on the edges, so it can pop a little bit more all the details on the pumpkin. And also on the middle, I just went over just to do the details, and it was just amazing with the anti-wax. But right now I'm thinking, like you can use like color pencils or just a pencil, and I think it would work just perfect too. I'm gonna be using these metal words that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna be using the word harvest, and I'm gonna be just using hot glue to glue it. I think it's way better for permanent hold to use 86000. I'm gonna be using a little bit of the 86000 to glue the pumpkin so it can has a permanent hold with a little bit of the hot glue, and I just placed the pumpkin. Do you guys see it? Why I decided to make that kind of like hole in the middle? Because it holds really well, and I just reinforce it with a little bit more of the hot glue on each side, and I create just a simple bow made of that jute twine, and I just place it on the top. And it was really simple and easy project to create, but it has really high-end look, this pumpkin. I love the color and it looks amazing in my house. But please let me know in the comments down below,
What do you guys think about this project? For the next DIY, I'm gonna be using a piece of wood that I got from Dollar Tree, and I just removed that tag from the back, and to paint it, we're using the Rust-Oleum paint. You know, it's my favorite color to use, but you guys can paint it at any color that you preference, and I think it will look beautiful. I wet my brush a little bit so we can give this whitewash to the wood, and once it's completely dry, I'm gonna grab these wood cubes and I just use a little bit of the spackling to cover the holes, because once I place them, I'm pretty sure you guys can see like from the back, you know, the holes, and I didn't like it. And to glue it, we're doing a combination of wood glue and hot glue. The hot glue, it's only to hold it on place into the wood glue. It's completely dry, but if you're not in the rush, you guys can use only the wood glue. And once I place the 4 pieces, I'm gonna grab this beautiful free printable that I found on Google, and I'm just using the pumpkin. The letters, I just use it for another project, and I place the piece of wood on the top of the image, and I grab a pencil and I just trace it. And once I trace it, I just cut it with my scissors. And to place the image, I just using a little bit of the Mod Podge, and I did first one coat and I just placed my image. And once I placed my image, I just went over with my hands to smooth a little bit, you know, the image, so it won't have any wrinkles or bubbles. And I went over with another coat to seal the image really well. I love it how it turns out, this project, and it's super easy to create it. And the other thing that I decided to do, I used a little bit of the Waverly anti-wax just to go on the edges, because it was missing something else on this beautiful vase, and it was a touch. I just love it. And you guys can paint it at the color you prefer, like I mentioned, you know, I think it will look perfect on different color, but I just want it white, you know. But please let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project? Do you guys change something to this beautiful wood vase?
For the next DIY, I'm gonna be using this beautiful wood leaf that I got from Dollar Tree, and I just used a little bit of the spackling to cover the hole. And to paint it, I'm gonna be using this Deco Art paint. It's kind of like light gray. It doesn't have the name of the colors, so I just did one coat, and I just paint also the edges of the leaf and also on the back, and I just let it dry really well. The next thing, we're gonna be using this beautiful garland that I got from Dollar General, and it's really beautiful. I love the colors, and I decided not to remove that letter A because it was just perfect to put it on the top, you know, the leaf. It holds really well, and also I just can remove the leaf, you know, whenever I'm done with the decor. But I really love it how it turns out, and I just create a simple bow and I just place it on the top. I'm gonna be using these ribbon transfer stickers that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna be using the word gather, and I just place it on the middle. And once I place it, I also did a cotton Mod Podge on the top so it can hold it, you know, really well, the sticker. And I decided to use a little bit of the anti-wax just to give more details on the edges of the leaf. And also I create another simple raffia bow, and I just place it on the top. I really love it how it turns out. It's really beautiful. If you guys don't have this exactly garland, you know, you guys can just recreate it with some wood beads from Dollar Tree. It's really simple and easy project to recreate, but please let me know what you guys think.
For the next project, I'm going to be using 3 pieces of wood that I had on hand. You guys can use any pieces of wood that you guys have, or you guys can grab it from Dollar Tree. And to paint it, we're using the Rust-Oleum paint. I just did 1 coat and I just let it dry. I decided to paint it on the back of the piece of wood because we're going to create 2 side projects, and I will show you in a minute how adorable they turn out, these pumpkins. I'm gonna be using this tissue wrapping paper, and I cut just a few pieces and I use a little bit of the Mod Podge to place it. And once I placed the piece of the tissue paper, I just went over with the brush and kind of smooth any bubbles or any wrinkles. And I did another coat on Mod Podge so we can seal really well the piece of tissue paper. And I did the same step with the other 2 pieces, but I just used a different color of the tissue paper. I'll show you in a minute. And I just put it to a side and let it dry really well. I'm gonna use this shelf liner that I got from Dollar Tree, and I cut 3 pieces to the side of that wood piece, and I'm gonna use a little bit of the hot glue just to hold it on place. But I think it will work to use like Mod Podge. I think it will work, you know. And I just want to say, like, just be careful once you put in the hot glue. I didn't use that much hot glue. It was just a little bit, you know, because you guys can burn your fingers. Once we're done, I just went over with a little bit of the anti-wax, and I went over to distress it and also on the edges, and it turned out amazing once I distress it because it gives so much detail to the shelf liner, you know. And I went over on the other side too because I'm like, I want these 2 side pumpkin, you know, like to match, you know. And I grabbed 1 wood stem. I cut it in half because it was a little bit bigger, you know, and it fits just perfect on the piece of wood, you know. And I just used a little bit of the hot glue to glue it, but you guys can use just wood glue. I'm gonna create another like messy bow, and I grabbed a few pieces of that burlap ribbon and I just tie it really well. And it was really simple to create this messy bow, and I place it on the top, you know, with a little bit of the hot glue, and I went over on the other side to glue another beautiful bow, you know. I just grab a piece of the jute twine and I just wrap it in my fingers, you know, and I just kind of like wrap it a few times, and I just tie it really well with the same piece of the jute twine, and I tie it really well. And once I was done, I just use a little bit of the hot glue to glue it. The other thing that I did, I grabbed 1 button and I just placed it on the middle, and I grabbed this greenery that I got from Dollar Tree as well, and I just grabbed a few pieces and I just placed it on the side, and I did the same step with the other side, you know. And that was the only thing that I did. They turned out beautiful, these pumpkins. I love it how they look. But please let me know in the comments down below, do you guys have a favorite for this 2 side project? For the last project, I'm gonna be using 1 wood house that I got from Dollar Tree like last year or this year, I'm not sure. And I just decided to use a little bit of that Rust-Oleum paint on color white just to paint on the edges and also kind of in the inside, you know, because I didn't like it just that color wood, you know. I'm like, I want something different. And once I was done, I just put it to a side and let it dry really well. I'm gonna be using another beautiful free printable that I found on Google, and I just cut it to the side of the wood house. And I'm gonna be using this glue stick that I got at Dollar Tree. I want to show you something different, like just in case that you guys don't want to use Mod Podge. So I just did one coat on the back, and it holds really amazing once I place my image, you know. And I didn't seal like with another coat on the top or anything. And once I place it, I just went over, you know, like to smooth any wrinkles or bubbles, you know. And also I want to do a two-side project for this wood house. So on the other side, I grabbed another free printable that I found on Google, and I just did the same step. It's really beautiful, you know. I love it. The other thing that I did on the edges of the wood house, I just used a little bit of the anti-wax just to distress it a little bit, and that was the only thing that I did. It turned out amazing, the wood house. I just love it. But please let me know in the comments down below, with all the projects that I create for you guys today, do you guys have a favorite? Please let me know in the comments down below. So that was it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified every time that I upload new video. And please don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much and have an amazing day.